Sunrise Extra on a Thursday. It's going to be a sunny day today. We're excited about that. Today we are talking about school. Portland Public Schools at like 11 p.m. on, what would it be, Tuesday night, decided that they were going to bring back some limited in-person classes starting January 25th. So there's some really specific grades that this is going to be for, and it's not for all kids in those grades, but it's K through 3, 6 through 9, and 11 through 12th graders.
It's just about every grade except for 4th and 5th and 10th, really, when you just mention all those grades.
Yeah. And it's only for students who are kind of, falling behind, or kids like, in 11th to 12th grade that need like
credits to graduate.
Yes,
absolutely.
and like hands-on
falling behind
stuff.
Yeah.
So the big caveat is this is only for 2 hours a day. Initially, we imagine it's going to be like at 16 elementary school buildings and 2 high school buildings. So those kids at those buildings may not be going back, but other kids, basically they're getting all of the infrastructure ready. So a
lot of caveats,
one way out.
Here.
There might be on-site testing. We'll hear more from the governor on that tomorrow. We will hear from you guys. That's how the show works. What do you guys think about this? January 25th, I would say a majority, if not all, the staff at those schools will likely not have been vaccinated. It's possible some of them will in the next week and a couple days before this starts. Also, how do you feel about, stopping your work from home to take your kid to school for 2 hours and then turning right back around and coming to get them?
Right.
Does that help you? Rod is raising his hand. Yes, Rod.
I want to ask a question.
Okay, go.
What do we know, especially let's say if you're in high school? Some high schoolers are included, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, what will they be doing for their assigned 2 hours? Do we have any ideas?
Think about it like our executive producer Paul was thinking, like chemistry, which is, where you actually have to see things, or more hands-on classes.
Like a lab.
That can be done, in 2 hours that you can't do very well virtually.
Okay.
And I've done stories on certain kids with different issues, but they really need that face-to-face, and they fall behind more quickly than other students who are maybe middle of the road. So I would assume that would be great for them as well to get even a couple hours of in-person instruction.
Mm-hmm. So it's involving 16 schools, and I'm just pulling up a direct quote here from a member of the school board, the Portland Public School Board. It says, "We're going to start with 16 elementary schools on the 25th, which include the 10 sites that already have childcare on them already." So I guess there are 10 schools that are still open right now for some sort of childcare situation for families. So it's those 10 schools plus the 6 comprehensive support and improvement elementary schools in the district. I mean, so we're not really talking about a full rollout by any means at this point. 16 total schools, elementary level, and again, really trying to help the kids, not just in K through 3, but those kids in K through 3 who really need help with learning. They just are struggling mightily right now in the distance learning setting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we want to know, what do you guys think about just the 2 hours? Is that enough? Is that more of a hassle than it's worth for 2 hours? Or is any, baby steps, is 2 hours a good kind of first thing? What do you think about, teachers not being vaccinated early on?
Margaret Jimenez is on the stream, and she says, "My kids are not going back to school till COVID numbers drop and everyone is vaccinated. My kids are safe and healthy at home." So that's her take on it.
We had a really interesting story, you guys, and Rod and I were kind of talking about this. So new CDC data was just released yesterday. They've been studying infection rates in children, since March when this happened. And they found that in counties across the country where those schools have stayed in-person classes this whole time, the infection rate for those kids is the exact same as it is for counties with schools that have been online this whole time. That's something to think about. That's K through 12th graders. As people get older, so college age, the infection rate drastically jumped when students went back to in-person classes. But for the little ones, it's the exact same. They didn't talk about the staff. We know, adults have get a higher infection rate than kids, But that's also something to consider. I thought was interesting.
Valerie Helm says, excellent. Time to open up. People are afraid, scared, have a compromised immune system. Then those people should be the ones to 100% isolate. Let the rest of us adults make our own decisions and go back to work. This cannot go on forever, or the whole country will go bankrupt, she says. And then she adds, it's time to open.
Yeah, I wonder if, well, I would love to get some behind the scenes knowledge as to why 2 hours. Because I might be incorrect. I mean, it's easy to assume, well, you're either putting yourself in an environment where you can be exposed to something or you're not. So I'm really curious about the 2 hour thing.
Right. The Portland Public Plan, of all the plans we've heard from so far, and really a lot of districts have announced their plan that's going into effect here in the next few weeks. A lot of school districts have talked about the beginning of February to launch their in-person learning. The Portland Public Plan is really the most convoluted. I mean, there's so many different elements to it, and a lot of it is still sort of like in motion right now, because you're right, Rod, why 2 hours? That was not clearly explained. Yeah. I know that with all the school districts, and quite frankly, for the people who are watching us right now, for all we know, we have 0 people watching from within the Portland School District area. I mean, we have other people watching us from all across the area, Southwest Washington, and the entirety of Oregon. So the real big question is, how do you feel, generally speaking, about your kids going back to school? Because that is the issue that parents and families across the area are dealing with right now. We were just sent a questionnaire, and I'm guessing, Rod, that either you've got one recently or you're about to, that just basically is asking us, what's your plan in the next few weeks? Will you send Caleb and Chase to school when we go to the hybrid model here in a few weeks, or are you going to keep them home for the continued comprehensive distance learning? Because I think a lot of districts are also going with that plan, giving parents a choice. The teachers don't seem to have that choice, right? It seems like they're going to have to go back to school if schools reopen, but parents and families will have that choice. And I can tell you, if you're curious, that we answered yes, they will go back to school on that survey. It was 2 choices: stay in 100% comprehensive distance learning, or send them back to the hybrid model. And my thought is, our boys need to get out of the comfort that has become the home for them. They are way too comfortable right now in this at-home learning setting.
So you said send them back? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
And it's only going to be, 2 days 1 week, 3 days the next. That's how it will work in our district. So you're still going to be doing at-home learning.
Yeah. So it's kind. I mean, it is hybrid, right?
It's hybrid.
Okay. Gotcha.
Brady Pemberton says, my child is in private school. He's been attending school for 2 hours all this school year. Only 3 children have had COVID where they attend. And then, let's see, Janelle Sigley, good morning to you. North Clackamas, last I heard, won't open until the numbers drop.
You see, Connie Miller says that's fine. She's talking about the fact that Nina shared research that shows there's not much of a difference in COVID numbers between districts that have been sending their kids to school versus not. And she says that's fine, but what was the stats for teachers and staff? We don't have research on that, do we, Nina?
No, not in that CDC data. It was just looking at kids, at younger, people and infection rates.
Rod, it's interesting that you bring that up, because I was just hearing from a teacher, and she was making the case that, and she's a little bit older, so she would be an essential worker and an older person who's going back. And she said, why can't we wait just a couple more weeks until we are able to get the vaccine? And their district is going back, and going back, same deal. If everybody decides they can go, or it can be hybrid or whatever, but they have choices. And she was like, why can't people just wait until we get vaccinated?
And Brenda, that is in the works, right? The teachers have been moved up on the list?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so their district, though, is going forward, and she was just expressing to me concerns that she had. And she said, I don't know, I've got a ton of sick time. I don't think I'm going to go back until things settle down and I get vaccinated.
It really has become a polarizing topic amongst families. Some are so passionate about no excuses. I don't want to hear any data. Our kids need to be back in school right now. End of story, period. And of course, there's others who say, like you just talked about, it's just not safe yet. I'm going to give Valerie one more voice here because we've heard from Valerie already this morning, but she kind of in response to what I said earlier, that teachers aren't really getting the choice to go back or not, that families do have a choice to keep their kids in some districts, to keep their kids at home, distance learning, or experience the hybrid model. And Valerie says to that, Drew, teachers do have a choice. They can find another job if they don't want to teach right now. That is a choice. And to me, that is, I guess I'm trying to be understanding, right? Yeah. Because I just feel like every family has a different situation. Every teacher has a different situation. And I feel for anyone who is in a position where they are not comfortable, or quite frankly, they're not healthy enough to withstand what could come from this virus.
Mm-hmm. And this article says, the PPS plans depend on a lot of factors like the spread of the virus, vaccination schedules, and how many teachers are willing to work in buildings. Mm-hmm. They need more clarity. Again, we were saying Governor Kate Brown is going to be addressing the state tomorrow about this, but the district wants to know, the availability of vaccines. They have 8,500 employees, and the logistics of getting them all the shot quickly, before the end of the month.
Seems like you ought to be able to figure that out. Again, I'm not the one that's on those task forces, but my gosh, man.
Mm-hmm. Cynthia Jones says schools should stay closed. Tom Gilpatrick weighing in, he said 4,300 plus people died yesterday. Is it safe to go back? Malia Geary, totally agree. Portland is an extreme risk in that category. How can they go back to school? Mm-hmm. So people are talking to each other, answering back and forth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Alan says, so Governor Brown increased the number of counties in the extreme risk category, which we talked about. I think Clatsop was one of those counties. But she wants to open schools for in-person learning. This makes absolutely no sense. It seems like we are doing increasing stories of especially business owners saying to us basically that certain things don't make sense, how we're doing this. We got to get through this, right? We got to get through it.
Tiffany Prather, Lewis County and kindergarten. My kiddos need the face-to-face interaction.
I have a friend that she has 4 little kids, and her oldest is it's kindergarten right now, and they've been doing it virtually. He goes to a PPS school, and she was giving me some examples of, just think of a little, how old are you in kindergarten? 5, 6 years old?
5, exactly, 5 or 6.
They're trying to do, one of his little assignments was like, watch this yoga video for 45 minutes for a little boy, and then have your parents take pictures of you doing the little yoga poses and send them in. And she's like, this is a complete waste of, my taxpayer dollars. This is her opinion. And, what are we doing? Like, kindergarten is such a magical, great time. Now that she's enrolled him, she can't unenroll him and start him over, next year in kindergarten. So they just, he is now starting this week in private school now. She enrolled him in the local private school, and they're going to go back to public school once it is fully open. But she's just like, this is not working for us. I don't want him sitting, this little, squirmy toddler, watching some video about nothing for 45 minutes.
The only thing I'll say about that, Nina, as your children roll through school, as we get back to in-person learning, I can promise you that there are going to be plenty of lessons that happen within the walls of the school building that you'll say, what the heck are they doing that for? There's a lot of that going on. I remember, basically my kids' entire, I want to say, 4th grade, there was a lot of that. They're learning, what? You did what today in class?
I imagine, yeah.
What's the homework assignment? There's a lot of that regardless if you're learning at home or in school. So school can be frustrating at times, and this continues to be this very polarizing, divisive topic. At home or go back.
Drew, can I ask you, have you been hearing from any sense through other teachers or other parents who've talked to teachers, are they all on board? Are most of them like, okay, we're good to go? What do the teachers in your district say? I always like to hear from the people who, one way or the other, are actually carrying out these orders.
Yeah.
The original question you asked was, can you ask that question? And I'll say, no, you can't. And now we'll move on. No, I'm kidding. You can ask. I honestly, Brenda, I have not talked directly to a single teacher at my kid's school. So that is complete honesty right there. Now I'm feeling guilty like I should have. I have been in communication with the school because the boys just this week began a cross-country program at the school. It's the first activity that's been allowed at the school since last March. And so every day of the week, they're having groups of kids, small groups, like I think their group has 12 kids in it, show up at school with masks and they do an hour of running. There's no competition, there's no meets, but they're doing cross country together. And honestly, to us, it was this opportunity for them to get out of the house, not be on Xbox between 4 and 5 o'clock at night, and to be around other kids.
Good.
And I know there are 3 teachers that are leading that cross country group that obviously have no problems of being at school right now, that volunteered to be there for this cross-country experience. And so there are definitely teachers who are ready to get back at it. Now, that doesn't speak to everybody, and I haven't spoke to all the teachers.
Yeah. So Lindsay Harris says limited in-person learning is capitalized, all volunteer-based for teachers and children. Please share accurate information. Deb Barnes says not true. So my question, is that the case? Do we have positivity in our reporting that Portland Public, the plan is you are being mandated if you want to keep your job unless you have
No,
enough
that is
sick
not the
time?
case.
Yes.
As I was just reading from that story, it depends on what teachers are willing to work in the building. So it sounds like, that is not a forced thing by any means.
Okay, so I think that's fair. Yeah.
Kim Taylor has a great question, to which I believe the answer is no. But we should probably get on this as of today. Kim Taylor asks, is there a list right now of schools/districts opening for a hybrid setting? Like, that's what we need, like this comprehensive list of all the districts. Because
I think we have something like that on our website, because we know Lake Oswego is opening either this month or the beginning, maybe February 1st.
First
Ben
Thursday
Lapine
in
Schools, I
first
remember.
Thursday in February for Lake
Yep,
Oswego.
is one of the biggest opening this month, and now Portland Public. Let me search around our website because I know we have a tally.
But that's literally 3 of the, how many school districts throughout Oregon and Southwest Washington. And that's why I always find this topic difficult to talk about on Sunrise Extra, because I know how far we reach and how many different communities, see this program. And every community is different. Every school district is different, and they're all rolling out their plan. And at the end of each of those plans, there's always that last line that says, subject to change, by the way. I mean, as the case numbers continue to fluctuate up or down, that could change what is the plan right now.
Sasha Reeves Richards says it's forced at Salem Kaiser. How old are your kids? You have people in there? Are you a teacher? Tell me a little bit more.
But what's forced?
And
teachers going back,
Yeah.
or families sending their kids back?
No, I think she means, I took that as to mean teachers have to go back.
Okay.
Ooh, Lily Moon is letting us have it. She says, KGW, exactly how many of you have checked in with your teachers? Sad. Yeah, she's a teacher, and she is not happy with the conversation because she feels like it's bashing teachers.
Oh, not at all. I think we're just, telling you what PPS's plans are, and, just sharing stories of kind of people we know and their feelings and what they're doing.
Connie Staub Miller says, Drew, those 3 teachers are outside in open air. Big difference,
Right.
I guess, than going back.
We are absolutely not, I don't think the 4 of us, any one of us, bashing teachers. There have been, and I've seen it, we've talked about it, viewers who this morning have said, the one viewer said teachers should either get back to school or find another line of work. There has also been defense for those teachers. Connie Staub Miller, who you just mentioned a moment ago, she said, that viewer sounds like they think teachers are easily replaced, which they are not, and I would agree with that 100%. I don't think there is a tougher job out there than a teacher. I've thought that since the time our kids were in kindergarten.
Yeah.
I thought that is not a job that I could do or would want to do, and they're not getting paid enough. There are some teachers that don't probably fit the billing of a good teacher, but I feel like those are just few and far between. For the majority of the teachers that we've experienced through now 7 years of schooling, they are awesome at what they do. It's tough work. I can't believe they actually managed to do it 5 days a week, and I do feel for them under normal circumstances. I certainly feel for them right now, especially those who are not comfortable going back, and I would never tell a teacher, you better get back or else. That is ridiculous in my opinion.
And I'm telling you, I think parents all across the country, all around the world with this pandemic have actually learned that the hard way.
Right.
That it is, oh my goodness, so hard to teach your kids, and the skill set and, the dedication and the love, that these teachers give our kids.
Yes.
You're thankful for it. And when they're foisted off back in your lap, I've heard also a lot of criticism of parents. It's like, you had them, you take care of them.
Exactly.
You teach them.
I'll tell you,
See how easy it is. Yeah.
I was off on Monday, right? You guys, I wasn't here Monday. My kids did have school that day, distance learning, and I was actually listening in to one of their lessons. I just happened to be in one of their rooms putting some stuff away for them, and they said, "Dad, I'm turning my camera off if you're going to be in here." So they were, listening to their class.
Okay.
But the teacher, I could tell, was just trying to strike up a conversation to begin the class, and I don't even know what this was the jumping off point to, but he asked the students to tell him what their favorite Disney movie was of all time. And he literally was like opening up everyone's microphone one at a time.
Force them to
Chase,
talk,
what's yours?
yeah.
Kayla, what's yours? Sandy, what's yours? And in the short time I was in there, I heard he gets to, I'm just going to say a name. Max, what's yours? I don't have one. And the teacher was like, "Oh, come on, Max, I can't accept that answer. You got to have one."
Yeah.
I haven't seen a Disney movie before. And right there, I'm like, I'm out. If I'm the teacher, I've already lost patience,
so
and Max has
frustrating,
ruined
right?
my day. But they deal with that kind of thing, it rolls
All the
off their
time.
back, and they do it all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, Lily Moon is weighing back in. She said, "Okay, better said, KGW. Thank you." Stressful
Thanks for
times.
watching, Lily.
You know what
Hey,
I love? I do love that, though. Can I just interject really quick? Because that's what I feel like we do best on the stream. It's like people have strong opinions, and, we may never change minds, and we don't have to. But I love the fact that she can make a strong statement and then come back and hear what we have to say and vice versa. That's good conversation.
Yes. Someone was asking about, where do we have school information? So if you go to kgw.com, right on the top, you'll see a blue banner stretching all the way across. And there's one that's the second one on there is called Reopening Oregon Schools. And right now, these are just for the districts in the metro area. So we have Portland Public, Beaverton, Clackamas, and Hillsborough. And if you click on those, really, it's only Portland that just now has a plan, and it details what all the other ones have said with potential opening dates. I'm looking here at Clackamas. They have some February dates on here for, K through 5th grade. Beaverton has not made a decision. Let's see what Hillsborough says. We're scheduled to meet with the governor, blah, blah, blah. So you can click on and look at details, at least for those 4. But yeah, I haven't seen a comprehensive, statewide. Oh no, it has Tiger and Tualatin on here too.
Yeah. One quick one, Michelle Anderson. I'm a school bus driver and I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited to see my students too.
Oh good. I take it back, you guys. There's all kinds of districts. Park Rose, Sherwood, Forest Grove. The tabs don't say it, but you just keep scrolling.
Okay. Remember Kristen Severance had that round table of teachers, this may be 2 years ago now, but she did that round table discussion about, I think it was violence in the classroom, right? Like disruptions in the classroom. That was the big topic a couple of years ago. I feel like we need that round table again for this discussion because I'm still thinking about that one viewer who was questioning, I mentioned 3 teachers at our school who have volunteered to do a little cross-country workout with the kids after school or after school hours right now. And she said that's not the same as being in a classroom inside. And you know what? You're right. I didn't think about that. It would be great to hear from different perspectives, from different teachers, and why they either feel like it's time to go back or why they don't.
Let's do it. Let's Zoom it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I think we're about done.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to do it now, Brenda. We're not doing it today?
Not time. Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow.